Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good. Right, this is the second round draw for the 18th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. In the first round, we started with 33, which is a record number of entrants for the game. And after the second round, we've eliminated almost half of you, and we're down to just 17 now. So I'll just quickly run through those names again. Those 17 are Bellatrix, Calfoth, Canhaga Captain Quebec, C. Collins 44, Costradamus, Dixgo 514, Foghorn Sam, Fresno MMA, Cushy Cake, Mason 0, Mule Floyd, Tartara, the MMA Historian, Trail Allman, Under Surveillance, and Ex-Con Chris. So that's they're our entrants for the second round. And for our second round draw, we have the UFC Fight Night card, Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. If I'm being honest, there have been stronger Fight Night cards overall, but I'm a little bit got a bit of a soft spot for this one because it's got two of my favourites on here in Ovincent Peru and Tiago Moises. So keeping a keen eye on those ones. But as for the main event, Tai Tuivasa, Marcin Tybura. Tuivasa's the fan favorite. That he's obviously very popular amongst the UFC fan base, and he's earned that reputation. Obviously if you ignore the even if you put all the shoeies and all that stuff outside the cage aside, his in-cage performances have justified it, but he has fallen a little bit short against the elites of the heavyweight division. And as for Marcin Tybura, this is a big test for him, but he has put a little streak together, which has kind of gone under the radar. His last few fights won by decision, and very, very technical displays in those fights. And trouble is, being heavyweights, you kind of expected to finish your opponents a little bit more. So I think a decision streak tends to go under the radar a little bit with the heavyweights. But Marcin Tybura's got a nice little streak going there, and honestly, I fancy him to continue it. So even though Tuivasa is probably the more accredited, more popular among of the two, I reckon Tybura could sneak another decision win here. So I'm going with Marcin Tybura for a decision win. But anyway, you're not here to listen to me ramble about what I think is going to happen tomorrow in the main event of tomorrow night. You're here to see who you're going to get drawn up against. So once this page loads, which could be anything from about 5 seconds to half an hour, given my broadband connection, we're going to start with Bellatrix once it eventually loads. If it eventually loads, that is. Okay, yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's going to be loading anytime soon. And I do these videos in one take with no editing whatsoever. So if you want to go take a piss or grab a snack or something, now's probably the time to do it. There we go. Getting there eventually. Not ideal, but with my broadband, that could have been a hell of a lot worse. But anyway, starting with Bellatrix. Let's see who she gets drawn up against. In Bellatrix's corner, we have Jafel Filhau. Jafel Finhal there for Bellatrix. And now I've got him to win by second round knockout against Oda Osborne, and I say he's got a little bit of a knockout streak going for him, and I say not too much to say besides the fact that I just generally think that the opponents he's beaten up until this point have been better than that of Oda Osborne, who's it's been a little bit inconsistent, really. So he's got some good wins, but he's never put a streak together, so to speak. He's sort of got a win, then got a loss, and another win, got a loss. So he's a little bit inconsistent. But overall, I think Jafel Filau is a good selection there for Bellatrix. So I can see her making the third round. Next up is Calfoth. And Calfoth gets the other side of that fight in Ode Osborne. Oda Osborne there for Calfoth. Yeah, basically I'm going to say the exact opposite of what I just said a second ago, and yeah, I'm not going to lie, so I favoured Jafar Filau in that one. I just think that Oda Osborne's he's a good fighter on his day, but he's just a little too inconsistent, just a little bit too unreliable for me to pick him tomorrow night. So Bellatrix is going to be up against Calfoth, and I think Bellatrix is going to get the come out on top on that one. Next up is Canhega Ruiz. He gets one of my favourites, Ovin St. Peru. Ovin St. Peru there for Canhega Ruiz. Now, he's one of my favourites. It's just because I've been watching him for a long time more than anything. It's when I was first getting into the sport, he was one of the first fighters I decided I was going to keep an eye on, keep following. And even though his career hasn't exactly reached the highest points that a younger version of me thought that perhaps it could one day, but he's still been a very entertaining fighter for a long time. So I've got a very soft spot for Vincent Peru. Having said that, he is 40, and Kennedy as Chegu, it'd be delusional for me to say that I can see Peru getting a win over him because frankly I can't. I think Kennedy's going to be he's an up and coming fighter, or at least younger anyway, and he's got a few knockout wins in his last few fights. Peru, on the other hand, much I love watching him. He's past his prime, and his chin has been cracked multiple times. So I reckon Kendi and Sheku is going to get that win. So as much as I hate to say it, I'm rooting for you, but I don't think it's going to happen if I'm being realistic. Captain Quebec up next. And he gets one of the main eventers, Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura there for Captain Quebec. And yeah, as I said in the introduction, I'd say his little it's not been the most spectacular streak, but he's been consistent with it, and I think that might just be enough. If he carries on fighting how he is, I can't see Taito Ivasa stopping him. Besides one or two freak attacks, but I can't really see that happening. I can see Tybura fending it off, and honestly, I think he's going to do the better work over the course of the fight and get the decision win for that one. So yeah, that's I think he's the underdog. I'm not sure. I haven't really checked the betting odds for a little while, but it's close though. But I reckon Captain K-Bet's got a good fighter for tomorrow night. C. Collins 44 up next to take on the wheel. And he gets Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez for C. Collins 44. And yeah, because I've got him to win a decision against Isaac Delgarian, simply because he's just the in terms of UFC caliber, he's just got the more experience, and that quite it's kind of boring to say, but it's like it does make a difference. Fighting high caliber opponents, regardless of results, it does make you a better fighter from what you learn, from what you experience in those fights. And Christian Rodriguez has been fighting more UFC fighters, more higher level opposition than Isaac Dolgarian has. So I've got him to win by a decision tomorrow night. So I think that this experience is going to be a key factor in that fight. Costradamus up next. Costradamus is going to be paired with Josh Kuilbao. Josh Kuilbao for Costradamus. And again, there's another fighter I've got win a decision. He's fighting Danny Silva. And again, similar thing, really. It's just a lot of Danny Silva's recent fights, up until the last one or two, have been on the regional scene. And whereas Josh Kulibau's been with the UFC for, what, 4 or 5 fights now at least. And that's what I think can make the main difference, really. Again, similar situation to Christian Rodriguez. It's that's the fighting the higher level of competition, fighting on that kind of stage. It's gives it's, there's the old saying, "Iron sharpens iron," and it rings true, especially in the fight game. And I so overall, I think that's a good pick there for Costradamus. Dixco 514 up next to take on the wheel. One of our newer entrants, first time playing this game, got through the first round, and now he's paired with Macy Chiasson. Macy Chiasson, therefore, Dixco 514. Chiasson. And, oh, excuse me. oh, oh, excuse me. Right. Macy Chiasson. What have I got written down for her? It's, fuck. Alright. Obviously fighting, oh, fucking hell. Yeah, excuse me, a little coughing fit there. Yeah, she's fighting Pani Kinzaid. Overall, I've got Pani Kinzaid winning a decision, but to be honest, that is probably one of the closer fights on the card. And yeah, overall, I've got oh, excuse me. Fucking hell, what have I picked up? Sorry. Right. Overall, I've got Pani Kinzaid to win a decision there, and like I say, I'd be lying if I said I was confident in either fighter for that one. So it's probably sort of 60%, 40% to Panic and Zaid, but it's all in all, it's not the worst pick. It could be a lot worse. Foghorn Sam up next to take on the wheel. And he gets Gerald Merscheret. I've never been sure how to pronounce that one, but Gerald Merscheret for Foghorn Sam. And Slade, this is a classic. Two UFC veterans, Gerald Merscheret and Brian Barberena, is squaring off against each other. Both past the primes of their careers, both getting, well, obviously getting into late 30s now. Having said that, Mushrat has always been a threat on the ground throughout his career, and even though they're both, even though he's past his prime now, I still think that's going to be a significant factor. I still reckon his ground game is stronger than that of Brian Barberena. So I can see him once Barberena starts to gas out a little bit in the later rounds. I can see Mercer getting a submission there. So I've got Mercer at third round submission. Fresno MMA up next to take on the whip. And he gets the other side of that fight, Brian Barberena. Funny how the wheel got their bloody fucking hiccups now. Fucking hell. Shouldn't try and record these things after a nice out drinking. Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, it's Brian Barberena versus Gerald Masharat, Foghorn Sam versus Fresno MMA, and as I've just said, I fancy Merceret for a submission win there. Once Barberena's starts to gas out a little bit in the later rounds, you can see Merceret finishing on taking it to the ground, finishing it there as well. So in that little battle between Foghorn Sam and Fresno MMA, I can see Foghorn Sam coming out on top. Cushy Cake up next. And he gets Josiane Nunes. Josiane Nunes there for Cushy Cake. And it's another close fight. It's funny for this fight. It's just the women's fight seemed to be the closest ones on the card, but Josiane Nunes is the bookies' favourite to win that one. But personally, I'm going to be siding with Chelsea Chandler for a decision win. She's sort of 120 betting favourites. If last time I checked the odds anyway, but the reason I'm picking her is mostly based on her Invicta experience. Because I know I was rambling on about how the UFC's sort of obviously the higher level, iron sharpens iron, and all that. But when it comes to women's fights, I would say that the quality of the fights in Invicta at the higher level of Invicta are very easily comparable to that of the UFC's. Oh, excuse me, easily comparable to that of the UFC's women's fighters. So I do, in terms of the regional promotions, I do highly rate Invicta, and she's and Chelsea Chandler's put together quite a few good wins in Invicta, and I think that's going to put her in good form for the tonight's fights. Or at least you can draw on that experience when things start to get tough later in the fight. Anyway, so yeah, the bookie side with Cushy Cake and Jose and Nunes, but personally, I think it's going to be a much closer and tougher fight than it appears on paper. Mason Zero up next to take on the wheel. And he gets Mitch Ramirez. Mitch Ramirez there for Mason Zero. And to be honest, I just don't fancy Mitch Ramirez's chances at all in this one. He's up against another one of my favourite fighters, Thiago Moises. Yeah, and quite simply, it's another one of those overwhelming experience. I don't even know why they booked this fight. This is a complete mismatch, in my opinion. There's so many better fights that could have been booked for both of them, but now that it has been booked, Thiago Moises is going to make short work of Mitch Ramirez, in my opinion. First round submission win. once Moises gets Ramirez to the ground, it's not going to be long until it's over. But yeah, it's a complete mismatch, that one. And it's very unfortunate for Mason O's point of view. He's been drawn with Mitch Ramirez. Mule Floyd up next. And Mule Floyd is drawn with Brian Battle. Brian Battle with for Mule Floyd for a decision. I've got him to win a decision against Andrew Lusa. I'm going to be completely honest. Never in a million years thought that either of these fighters would be co-main eventing a UFC event, but here we are. But yeah, now that it has happened, it's a good quality fight in terms of competitiveness. They're fairly close in skill level, but again, just Brian Battle, just overall, overall just the better fighter of the two, more experienced, just more slick, more polished fighter overall. So Brian Battle there for a decision win against Andrzej Lusa. Tartara up next to take on the wheel. Let's see who Tartara is going to get drawn with tomorrow night. And he also gets drawn with Josh Kulibau. And yeah, same as earlier on, I fancy him to get the decision win against Danny Silva. I say not wanting to repeat myself too much, but yeah, that's just more experience. And who else had Josh Kulibau, Kostradamus. So yeah, Tartar and Kostradamus there for. I reckon we've got a good chance of getting through to the next round. The MMA historian up next. And he gets one of my favourites, Ovin St. Peru. Yeah, again, don't want to repeat myself too much, seeing he came up earlier. Who else? It was Kenhago Ruiz that had Ovin St. Peru earlier. And as I've said, I'm going to be rooting for him tomorrow night. But the truth is, his age is like the age is catching up with him. He's had his chin cracked a few times, and quite frankly, Kenzie Nsheku is going to. I can see him finishing him off tomorrow night. So yeah, I don't rate the MMA historian's chances that highly, I'm afraid. Even though I'd love to see Ovin St. Peru win, but I just thinking with my brain, I just can't see it happening. Trey Lawman up next to take on the wheel. And he gets Corey McKenna. Corey McKenna there for Trey Lawman. And yeah, I've got her to win that decision against Jacqueline Amorim as she's put together a steady streak of decision wins. It's truth be told, it's not been the most spectacular of wins. It's not been the most eye-catching or impressive of wins given the opponents she's fought, but it has been consistent. I've got to give her that. And I can't see any reason why she can't continue that against Jacqueline Amorium tomorrow night. So, oh, excuse me. So yeah, I think it's a good pick for Corey for Trey Lawman there with Corey McKenna. Down to what last two now. Under Surveillance is up next, the penultimate person to be drawn with the wheel. Let's see what Under Surveillance gets drawn with. And he gets drawn with Gerald Merceret. Gerald Morsheret there for under surveillance, and as I said earlier on in the video, once Brian Barberena starts to gas out a little bit, Morcheret's going to really take control of the fight. Once Morcheret gets it to the ground, or once Barberena falls to the ground, I can see Morcheret finding the submission win later on in the fight. So Morcheret for third round submission win. And finally, ex-con Chris up next to take on the wheel. And he gets the other side of that fight, Brian Barberena. Brian Barberena, therefore. Ex-con Chris. How are we spelling that? There we go. Yeah, and as I said, it's two veterans of the UFC, but I can't see Barberena holding up entirely against for the full 15 minutes against Gerald Morcheret. So all in all, I'm not very confident on ex-con Chris's chances in this next round, unfortunately. Right, just that completes the second round draw. I'll just quickly run through those names again before my voice is completely consumed by the hiccups. Bellatrix with Jafel Filau, Cal Foth with Ode Osborne, Canhego Reeves with Oven St. Peru, Captain Quebec with Marcin Tybura. Fucking hell. C. Collins 44 with Christian Rodriguez, Costradamus with Josh Calibao, Disco 514 with Macy Chayson, Foghorn Sam with Gerald Morcheret, Fresno MMA with Brian Barberena, Bushy Cake gets drawn with Ozean Nunez, Mason Zero gets drawn with Mitch Ramirez. Brian Battle is the pick for Mule Floyd. Let's get past a few of the dead ones that have already been eliminated. And we have Tartara with Josh Kulibao, the MMA historian Ovin St. Peru, rather. Trey Lawman with Corey McKenna. Under surveillance with Gerald Morcheret, and ex-Congress with Brian Barberena. So that's yeah, that concludes the second round draw for the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game 18th edition. I hope through my drunken slur and hiccups you're able to understand that and get the gist of it, or but yeah, all that leaves me to say is if you got bets on tomorrow night's card, good luck with those. So it's nice to see people beat the bookies. Obviously, good luck with your Tapology picks, but most importantly, good luck for those of you left in the Lucky Bastard game, and until next week, so long for now.